Hi, I'm Victoria. That's Tommy. He's gonna bite up the feather or chew on the feather or chew on all my stuff or run around for the next 20 minutes, and so sorry in advance. But this is my strategy presentation. My strategy is over a curriculum called Handwriting Without Tears. And as you can tell, Handwriting Without Tears is a curriculum for handwriting. Yay! Hopefully there's no tears involved too, because the curriculum makers try to make this really fun and really educational and not boring, because boring is no fun. So on the box it says that this can go from pre-K to 5th grade. I don't know if I would use it for a 5th grader. First of all, there's no curriculum or materials in the box for 5th grade. Doesn't mean I can't use it, but it also gets kind of childish really fast, and I'm afraid that 5th graders might think it's too baby or too boring for them. So that's honestly why I probably wouldn't use it for 5th grade, but up to 4th grade I think you're good. So what Handwriting Without Tears does is kind of give students the basic principles first of learning print. So first, they learn what a circle is and what a shape is, what a triangle is. So they learn those basic shapes, and then they learn numbers, and they learn letters, and then eventually they learn to print, and then they learn cursive. And so they start off small, so learning a circle and what shape does a circle make. So a circle, and they have the squiggly line, so maybe for a number 3, and you have the straight line, so maybe for a triangle. And so they start off teaching those and having kids write those, and then they go on to, okay, those random lines, random squiggles that you make actually are used as numbers and letters. And so then they go on, oh, this is what a 3 is, or this is what the letter B is. And then it goes on to, all right, once you got print, then you can write your name, and then you can write a sentence, and you can write a paragraph, and then whenever you mastered print, then you can write in cursive, and you can do all that stuff in cursive. And so you'd probably stick with the basics pre-K and kindergarten. By kindergarten, you should know all your letters and learning how to write words and write sentences. And then first and second grade, writing paragraphs. And then by second, third, and fourth grade, you'd probably start doing cursive and then adding more stuff with that. So I'm going to go over a couple of strategies, actually not strategies, but the things that are in this box that I got. So this box I actually got, not just the top, but the big box. It's kind of heavy. I got from the Tulsa Library, the OSU Tulsa Library, and I got it for free because I'm a grad student, and I got it for 2 months. And then if you don't, Tommy, go away. If nobody else wants it or is trying to check it out, it'll actually keep on renewing itself. And so there's 2 of these boxes, and there's more stuff in there for Handwriting Without Tears. And so if other people aren't using it, then you can probably use it the whole year, as long as you're not writing in their material. But making copies of it is okay. I looked that up. Okay, so the first one, we're going to start with kind of pre-K, and the cat is trying to get in all my stuff. We're going to kind of start with the easy lower level things, so pre-K and kindergarten. So the first thing is roll-a-doh letters. And so, like I said, this is from the library, so I'm kind of afraid to open up things. So I'm just going to kind of show you what they have and then just work with it. So first is kind of showing kids how to make the letters. Maybe they won't even know what it is. So making the lines and making the shapes and making the squiggles and all those other things. And so what you do is, here's an A. You can see there's 3 lines kind of backwards because I'm backwards on here. And then you take the Play-Doh, or the roll-a-doh, as I like to call it, and you will go like this, or you make it in balls, and then you put it on top of the letters that are on here. So this shows, maybe the student won't know what an A is yet, but they'll know that this letter, or this shape, as some kids might think it is, has 3. So it has 2 longer ones and 1 smaller one. And maybe they might even think, oh, A, I mean, it's an apple, so maybe that is an A. I don't know. Who knows? And so they also have the numbers on here. So here you would have to make a long one and make it a big circle. And so, yeah, and here there's all the numbers, and there's all the shapes, and there's also all the letters. But all the letters are only in uppercase, capital letters. And so you would have to use something else to teach them lowercase, unless you wanted to make your own. Next, what I'm going to show you is the wood piece set for capital letters. I think they make this one for lowercase levels letters too, but it's not in this box, so I honestly have no idea. I used this one this past year. I was a paraprofessional at a school, and I worked with pre-K and kindergarten students with mild, moderate disabilities, and they were learning how to write and learning how to write their name and put all the letters of their name in order so they could eventually write their name. And so what I did was I actually use this wood piece set, which I'll take out in a second, and then I use these cards made for the wood piece set. So as you can tell, I don't know if you can kind of tell, but these look like wood pieces. And so what you would do is you would take the wood pieces, and these are all a lot. I just don't want to take them out because they're not mine. And you would place them on top. So this is backwards. Here, one here, one here, and then you would take the smaller one and put it across. And so students know that this piece, this small piece, and two of these bigger pieces creates an A. And hopefully by then they're starting to learn letters of the alphabet. And then they're on the back. There's little activities that they can do. You would probably not want them to write on it, but you can be like, all right, this is an A, and cover it up. Oh, this is backwards. Which one is the A? And then they, oh, look, that one's the A, and A says, apple. Which one's, yeah. So you can do different things with these. What I like to do is we actually ordered 2 or 3 of these sets of the cards, and we gave each student their name in these big letters, and then we also had a bunch of these wood sets. And so what we would do is we'd hand each kid a wood set, and then we'd hand them their name. And what they would do is they would go around the room and they would spread it out, and it wouldn't be in any particular order. And first they had to put their name in order. So if his name was Sterling, then you would find the S, and then they would put it all in order, and then you would take the wood pieces and you would put them on top. And we kind of made it a race, except some kids have shorter names, and so Joe was way easier than Sterling. And so you kind of have to be careful of that because some kids might get really frustrated with that. But it also helps kids see their name, see it in order, and they're also creating their name using the wood pieces. Here, I can show you what else is on the wood pieces. And so you have the big C's, as I like to call them, and then the little C's. And so 2 of the big C's will make an O, or a straight line, and a small C would make a P. Actually, it'd be this way. Or if you had 2 small C's, then it would be a B. You can make every letter with these. The only thing that's kind of confusing is sometimes you have to overlap them. And so students get confused because they think it's supposed to fit perfectly when they don't see it overlap. They don't see it in 3D on the paper, and so you can see it in, Tommy, go away. You can see it in 3D in person, just not on the paper, so they get kind of confused with that. So I'm going to put these away real quick, and then I'm going to go on. So that was still pre-K and kindergarten. If you needed to, first grade. I'd say first grade's kind of pushing it just a little, but that's just me. So next, I'm going to do the stamp and C screen. So this is still for kindergarten and pre-K. So you guys have all played those like little magnet things, and so you draw on it. So yay, and then you erase it. Ooh, these are fun. And so what you do is there's little stamps with magnets on them, and so since this is a magnet, you stick it on here, and you kind of move it around a little bit. And there's your C. Oh, except there's part of that right there. And so students can take this thing and they can trace over it, or they can make another letter out of it, which this would be a backwards D, but you would have to teach them to not make a backwards D. The only bad thing about this is that it's really small, first of all, but this is mainly for like the lines and the curves, just like the beginning stages of learning how to print. The other bad thing is that it's kind of tilted, and so whenever you write, you can't write it on the edge. You have to write on the piece, or it will not show at all. So like this, nothing's happening, but you have to do it on the bottom part, and so that makes it kind of uncomfortable and kind of annoying, actually, for other people who want to write on it, who are used to writing with a pencil. So, and you can't get it back in this thing, apparently. But with the little stamps, there's the straight line, and then there's the small C, and then there's the big line, as well as the big C. And so, as you can tell, they're the 4 same pieces that the wood stamps had. And so kids can start, they're like, oh, I know these because they're using the wood stamps, and so the wood pieces. So yeah, I would use that for pre-K and kindergarten, And I don't think it's big enough for kids to write their name whenever they actually start writing their name. Maybe. I don't think so. My whole name. I have a long name, so mine probably would not fit. So that's pre-K and kindergarten. Then there's also these touch and flip cards that they have these for the ABCs, and they also have it for the numbers, so that's fancy. And there's a lot of them, and there's different kinds. And so this one is a smiley face one. I totally got the wrong one. Let's see if I can find the right one. Oh, here's the B. So touch, so you can actually touch them, and actually feels really good, so it could be good for your visual students also. So you touch it and you feel it, and kids will know that this is a bee. And if you look on the back, it's a bear, but what's on this side of it? It's that cow's bottom. And so it also helps kids put their alphabet in order. And so the butt of the bear, the bottom of the bear, is on the back of the A. And so the front of the cow is on the C, and then goes D to dog, E to elephant. Some of them are kind of hard because kids may, oh wait, this must be the end because there's the back of the alligator. Got it. And so it might be kind of hard for like quail or whatever the X one is, because I don't know if students know if they know anything that starts with an X besides X-ray fish. I don't even know if that would be one technically. So that one might be kind of hard and tricky for students if they're going straight off of that. But I really like these because you can feel it, and so you can physically feel how the letter is supposed to go. So they also have these with numbers, and there's a big box of them, and so I went through and there's like games in the back of it, and there's a cool little card that has some ideas for classrooms, or you can use these during centers. Only bad thing is that if you lose a card, then it's probably not the best. But you can use these with any age. If you're trying to put them in sentences, then you might be able to use it there too, because there's different ones. Words, not sentences. I'm really sorry. The next thing I'm going to show you is there's these little desk strips. And so you can use these for any age, any grade. There are the print ones up here, and then in the back, I'm pretty sure there's a cursive too. Yes, the cursive for the older grades. So if you wanted to put them on each kid's desk on the first day of school, they can do that, so they know the alphabet, and they can see it from the beginning. And then there's also I Know My Numbers books, and this is also for pre-K and kindergarten. So you get one of these for each student, and so there's one, and so you can see I didn't show you this yet, but there's a chalkboard that they can write on, so you can see on the chalkboard there's a 1 on it, written on it, and there's one sun. And I'll go through 1, and it keeps on going, 1 whale, and the kids get to trace it, they get to write it, they get to color it, and also they get to write their name on the top, and if they're not there yet, then you write it and let them trace it. So that's pretty much, oh wait, there's one more thing, sorry. There are 2 CDs that come with this. Actually, there's 3, but the third one is mainly for teachers, and I'll talk about that later. These are really for younger students. If you get this up to 1st grade, kids are going to think it's really corny. Even kindergarten kids will probably think it's really corny. I listened to it for maybe 10 seconds and wanted to blow my brains out because it was really corny. But it helps. This one, the first song it's pre-K, so I'm guessing it's for pre-K kids. The Ants Go Marching, I'm Happy to See You, the Numbers song, the Shape song, this one, Where Do You Start Your Letters? At the Top. Map Man, oh, I can show you that too. But it's really cheesy, but also really good because students remember better by song, and so it helps them, and a lot of younger kids have fun with this. Last thing I'm going to show you mainly for the younger kids is Map Man, and so Map Man takes these shapes that they have learned from the beginning, and they put them into different things. So there's an actual map man that is made out of those shapes, and so they get to learn what a head is, what eyes, nose, mouth, hands, body, knees, toes, legs, other things. They get to learn what those are, and so there's Map Man right there. He's kind of weird, but he's made out of wood, or you can make like little Velcro ones. That's what I did last year. But there's 4 of these books. This one's Matman on the Go. Get ready for school, and it's really made for younger kids. I don't even know if I'd use this in kindergarten, but mainly just to get ready for school for pre-K. So there's 4 books. There's the shapes, there's Matman shapes, Matman hats, Matman opposites, and Matman on the Go, and there's comes in this little fancy thing. And so that's the back. So that's mainly it for the younger kids. I'm gonna kind of go into the upper grades now with this. So 1st grade through 4th grade. So 1st grade, they know how to write their name, they know how to write sentences, they're learning how to do paragraphs. And so that is mainly focusing on their print. So not focusing on how to make them, but how to make your print legible and how to look nice, and then how to write with it. And so fancy thing about this curriculum is it all comes with teacher guides, which is the greatest because then you don't have to lesson plan unless you don't like it. And so here's the 1st grade yellow lesson teaching guide. And so it shows you my printing book. So I'm just going to come in here and pull out the yellow books and look! 1st grade printing books. So it goes through, and then there's copy stitches on double lines, and so they can go through and they can trace it or they can write it. And so the main goal of this is to make sure that they're legible, because I know a bunch of kids, and me too honestly, their stuff is not legible, not a lot of the time. And so that's mainly what this is so their handwriting is legible, so once they get out in the real world they don't have chicken scratch like me. A really cool part that I really love actually about this curriculum is that there are Spanish books also that are exactly the same, just in Spanish, as the English books. And so if you do have an ELL student who just moved here but still needs to learn, give them both. Order another one of these and give them the Spanish one, and yeah, it might be a little bit more work, but they're learning English and they're learning Spanish all at the same time. And so I think that's really cool. And you can honestly give your English students this too, because everybody can learn a new language, at least the basics. And so it has the sentences and it has the numbers and pretty much all the same thing. So that is for 1st grade, and actually these books and the teacher's guide go all the way up to the 4th grade. And so there is the 2nd grade, that is teal, which is my favorite color besides purple, so I like this one, and I want to teach 2nd grade, so it works. And then it has the 2 books that go with it. And then once you get into 3rd grade, that's when you're starting to teach cursive. So they should be mastered on their print because I've had 2 awesome years to work on it. And so you give them their cursive books. Yay. And so there's your 2 cursive books. So you have your English and you have your Spanish. Pretty much the same as the other one, except they're learning how to write cursive. And so it gives you, let me look in the English one. Here's the W. Is it backwards for you? Sorry if it is. And so, oh, it's not. And so they learn how to write it, and then they trace it, and then they write words using those letters in cursive, which I think is really cool. And so inside the teacher guide, there's like different activities, and there's different lessons to use besides using the books. But the books are really helpful. And even if you do it once a day, it still helps a lot, and kids learn cursive. And so then the same goes with 4th grade. It goes up to 4th grade. They have these little books that go with it for each grade. So there's workbooks, and then there's also these journals, and they go by grade. So there's my book that you would use for pre-K and kindergarten, and it's fill in. I like to play on the blank too, and so what do you like to play on? And each student would have one, and they get to write their name on the front, and they can fill it out either the beginning or the end of the year. Actually, you could do both to see like pre and post assessments of the year on their handwriting and how much they know their letters and how much they've improved. And then it goes up. So you have, if I can find it, I'm going backwards, sorry. There we go. Okay, so this is like kindergarten, 1st grade, draw and write notebook. So there's large lines, and then also places to draw a picture at the top. And then second grade, so there's regular double lines. Oh, here, this is one of the cons about it. You know how whenever you start to write, there's normally the 2 lines and the dotted lines in the middle? Well, there's no dotted lines in these books. That's one of the cons, because students may not know the difference, and so they'll get so confused if they've known like the dotted line in the middle and then you get rid of them, then they get confused. So going back to these, so here's the second grade, and then the third grade, my journal. So then this is just like straight lines that I can write. And then fourth grade is whenever they're learning proper nouns, and so they have it in cursive first of all, and then you're learning proper nouns. And so it's just going over like writing and then also learning, bringing that print into it, which is really cool. That's pretty much all the curriculum materials that I have. Besides those writing books that I show you, everything's color coordinated, which is really handy, which is why I was having such trouble figuring those out. Okay, so I'm going to go over some pros and cons, and then I'm going to go over a couple extras, and then I'll be done because I know this is long. So some pros about Handwriting Without Tears. First of all, it's affordable, and so a lot of stuff is really expensive out there. And this, if you need a class set, I'm pretty sure if you need to pay for it yourself, well, let's hope not, but if you did, it would be affordable just to get 1 grade stuff for the whole year. You'll be fine. It also helps students write legible, which is awesome because then you don't have chicken scratch like me. There's not a lot of preparation, and if students have extra time, you just say, hey, pull out your handwriting book to page 47. And it'll get done. It's a good like in-between activity, good transition activity. There's a website, let me look at it, www.hwtears.com, handwritingwithouttears.com. It's really easy to navigate through. There's a lot of different things. There's professional developments over this. There's helpful websites to use besides it, and there's also something called Keyboarding Without Tears. That it's pretty much the exact same with this, except it goes for the computer. So if you want students to start learning how to click and move a mouse and learn how to type, it does that. And I think it's as affordable as this, but I'm not absolutely sure. They know how to write in a fluid manner instead of just drawing letters, and so it's like B, and you can do B-L-A-C-K. That's the first word that popped in my mind. It's also good for visual learners because there are pictures on every page, and it makes it easier, and also good for kinesthetic learners because you got the little things that you can use with your hands. There's different sensory activities using the roll-a-dough, using the wood pieces, using the little stamp and color thing, and then the repetition of assignments. And so once you go through the workbooks, there's a lot of repetition. And so kids get used to what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do and what's the right way and what's the wrong way. And so it helps because they don't have to ask like, oh, hey, Miss Marcella, what do you do each time? It makes it a lot easier. And then also connects your basic print to learning actually print to cursive writing. And so it kind of just all connects all together, which is really great. Some cons, I've mentioned a couple of them actually. The CDs I use are really corny. But students in the younger grades actually like it, and so it works, but I would just say do not use it for older kids. They'll get so bored and so unengaged so fast. We definitely don't want that. Especially if there's a student who just comes in and you want them to learn print, just don't give it to them. They're going to want to like bang their head against the desk or something, and that's never good. The other thing is if you want to use the teacher guides, some of it requires special paper that you have to buy from Handwriting Without Tears, probably to get more money from them. But if there's a way to get around it, I would say do it because that paper is just an extra cost that we definitely don't have. And like I said earlier with the books, there's only 2 lines instead of the big line, the top and the bottom, and then the dotted line in the middle. There's only 2 lines. And so that can be hard transitioning from one workbook to the next if your math workbook has the 3 lines in your kindergarten. And your Handwriting Without Tears kindergarten workbook only has 2. It's hard to transition because kids may not know where to put the P up to or the hang down P. And so you have to kind of either tell them why it's like this or decipher like, am I going to use one or am I going to use the other? And then the last one is the repetition. It may be good for students with mild moderate disabilities, but if you use this in a general education classroom and they don't like repetition, it might get a little boring because doing the same thing each time may help them grasp it, but it also may be kind of boring at the same time. And so maybe you need to find new ways using the teacher's guide to come up with new ideas, or do this as a class, or do it as a group instead of just individually, or make it a game. Just finding new ways to do it so kids actually don't get bored. I think that is it. I am sorry for talking so long. Actually, I don't even know how long I talked. But, so yeah, this is Handwriting Without Tears, and I hope this was pretty good. Okay, bye.